Sally, I'm so sorry to hear about the divorce. I saw the moving van last week. I tell you, Gary sure had a lot of nerve. Coming with his new girlfriend to help him move the boxes?
Tell me about it. And after 15 years, I certainly didn't deserve that.
Well, I hope you made out okay in the settlement. Are you going to be able to keep the house?
Yes, I will. We were able to work something out. I'm going to have to buy out Gary's part of the house. But what I'm really worried about is, well, will I be able to handle everything?
Yeah, living alone. I know it was hard for me after Alice died. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Oh, no, I can handle living alone. In fact, I'm glad that Gary's finally out of the house. What I mean is keeping up with the house and all, and staying on top of things. When we were married, Gary did everything. He paid all the bills, he mowed the lawn, he cleaned out the gutters, he kept up with all the repairs. Now I'm going to have to do it. And quite frankly, Bob, I'm overwhelmed.
Oh, Sally, you're a smart lady. I'm sure you'll be able to handle it. But there are a few things you need to keep an eye on. One thing you might want to check out is your mortgage, to find out whether they pay the taxes and the homeowner's insurance for you, or if that's something you have to plan to pay for yourself. On top of keeping your monthly mortgage current, you also have to keep the taxes and homeowner's insurance current too. You don't want to have a fire or a really bad storm damage the house and you don't have the proper insurance in place. Or get a tax notice, and not only do you owe a lot of money in taxes, but they're going to charge you a penalty too. You could lose everything.
No. I better check into all of that. What I'm also worried about is keeping the house up. What if the water heater breaks or the roof springs a leak?
Well, you're right to be concerned. There is a lot to keeping a house in good shape, and you want to keep ahead of the curve before things get really bad. There's the obvious stuff, of course, like the yard. You have to keep the lawn mowed, the hedges trimmed, and you have to keep an eye out for dying trees. You don't want anything to come down and bust up your roof. Remember last year I had that dying ash? I had to call a tree service because I was afraid the big strong wind would come along and destroy my roof.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, there are a lot of things you have to think about the house too. One of the things you could do is get one of those home inspection agencies to look at the house and inspect it. Well, you probably had it done when you first bought the house, but a lot of years have gone by, and you want to make sure that the structure is still sound and there's nothing that you have to replace or repair.
I ought to do that today. Do you know of any home inspection companies? Do you have any phone numbers?
Actually, I do have one I could recommend. I'll get it in the house.
Oh, that would be great. Thanks.
Hi there.
Hey, how are you?
Heard you coming up. Have some coffee.
Thank you. Here. Okay.
So, how did it go?
Well, in general, things look pretty good, but here's some things you might want to focus on. You want to keep an eye on your roof. They last about 20 years before they need to be reshingled. And yours, I think, it has a few years left in it, but watch and make sure there's no loose or missing shingles, and you're going to need to call someone right away if you have any leaks. The oil burner looks good. They last about 25 years, and yours doesn't look that old.
You're right. The prior owners told us that they just changed it a year or two before we moved in.
Oh, so then you should be in good shape. But in order to get the full life on the furnace, you're going to have to keep it maintained. A faulty boiler can leave you without a heater in the winter, or it can cause unnecessary energy costs.
Gee, I don't know what oil service company we use. I never go down to the basement. That was always Gary's deal.
Well, you should go down and check. They usually leave a card or a sticker on the furnace to see when it was last cleaned. I can go down there and help you find it before I leave.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you. After we go down to the basement and check that out, do you think you could help me go check out the attic? Because it really gives me the creeps.
No problem.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm really appreciative of your suggesting that home inspection company. They were here today. I learned so much.
Great. Well, I'm glad it all worked out. What did you learn about the house? Is everything in working order?
Yeah, for the moment. I'm going to have to replace the roof at some point, let's say in a year or two. And I'm really concerned about how I'm going to pay for that. Do you know anything about home equity loans?
Well, a home equity loan is an option. You should be eligible for a home equity loan, seeing as how the homes in this area have appreciated in the past few years. But like any loan, you want to be careful and make sure that it actually helps your situation rather than hurts it. You know, there are some lenders out there that offer really bad home equity loans. If you're really going to go through that option, you might want to check with a bank first. Banks are regulated and don't offer the same type of predatory loans that unregulated lenders offer. You know, the ones with high interest rates and terms that would actually hurt the equity on your home rather than help it. You know, rather than taking out a loan, you could start setting that money aside now. If you can afford a few $100s a month to pay a loan, you can certainly take that same money and put it in a savings account.
Oh, I see what you're saying, and it makes a lot of sense. Instead of paying interest on a loan, I take that same amount of money and I earn interest. But what if I can't save enough money and time to pay for the whole roof?
Well, you'll still be better off. Well, you may need to get a home equity loan to cover the amount that you're short, but by saving ahead, you'll reduce that amount and save yourself a ton of money in interest costs.
Well, I'm going to look into my budget and start to set that money aside. I hope I can have enough self-discipline to do that.
I know. It's really hard. Well, there's always something that you think you need more. My employer has direct deposit, where they put my paycheck directly into a bank account each week. So what I did was to take a portion of that money and have it deposited right into a savings account I use for the house. That way I never even see the money and I'm not tempted to use it on something else. Well, you know, keeping my home is really my top priority. And by setting this money aside and planning ahead, I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to do it.
You know, I'm with you. You know, I really love this house, and I worked very hard to get it. I'd hate to jeopardize it. It's my home.
I hear you. Well, if you need any help, make sure you give me a holler. I'll come over and see what I can do.
You know, Bob, not only are you a good neighbor, but you're a great friend.